everyone, and welcome back to Royal Fashion News. My name is Brittany, and today we're going to be talking about the top 14 looks from Catherine, the Princess of Wales in 2022. Yes, Catherine had some really amazing looks this year, and we've seen her change up her style quite a bit. She's now adopting more suits, which has been fabulous to see because I always thought she would look great in suits. So I was really excited to see her bust out those a lot more. She's especially been leaning on Alexander McQueen. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. All right, guys, these will be in no particular order, although I will say I will end with my favorite look of the year. And so one of the first looks I want to highlight is the military-inspired ensemble that she originally wore back in a couple years ago for the Remembrance Sunday ceremonies, and then we saw the full look of when she did a military visit right after the Queen's death. And so she was greeting some of the soldiers that had come in for the funeral, and I just really love military-inspired looks. I've loved them for years. One of my favorite dresses, which unfortunately I can now fit back into probably because I've gained some weight a bit, and I love it though, is this one I got from Calvin Klein over 10 years ago. It is one of my favorite dresses ever. It's very, very military. It's got a khaki color. Anyways, enough about my fashion, back to Kate's. But I just love a button military inspired look. I just think it's something that works really, really well. I mean, I know it's a bit perhaps themey to do that on a military base, but I just still love the reflection of the military attire, and I think this really works for Catherine. She looks gorgeous in it, and obviously it was a very difficult moment, but I feel like she looked exceptionally beautiful here, and I feel like it was a look she really pulled together and really fit the occasion, and really reminded us that the Queen is leader of the armed forces. And I was just super stoked to see Catherine in that look, and I was glad that we got to see the full effect, and I'd love to see more of her Remembrance Sunday coats. Oftentimes it seems like she just wears them there and then we don't ever see them again. So it's great to see that one come out for the occasion. My next pick is going to be this light cornflower blue or periwinkle maybe ensemble here that she has with the light blue top and jacket and then the navy pants. I just really, really like the long coat with this look. I am obsessed with that long coat. I would love it. I don't know if they've ever officially identified it. I think it's been debated between Catherine Walker and Alexander McQueen. I just think it's a beautiful coat. She wore it on another engagement this year. But I just love the pussy bow blouse, and then we had the trousers and the pumps. I just think with the long coat, I feel like that look just really comes together and again shows the evolution of her style this year from, I would say, more dresses and coat dresses to really adopting a trouser look. And so for my next pick, I'm just actually going to go with a couple, is her now all of a sudden obsession with Alexander McQueen suits. And I'm for this. I think the blazers in these suits look fantastic. I think Catherine has a great figure for suits. It would always bugged me that she didn't bust these out a bit more because I feel like it just really is flattering for her. So we have a new white Alexander McQueen suit, and we have a couple different trouser options. We have one that goes to the ground, which is more of a boot cut style or a wide leg style, and then we have another that's more of a cigarette or ankle length trouser look. And then we have a pink ensemble now as well, a pink suit, and we have again more of the cigarette style pants there for Catherine in this pink suit, which I feel like is probably my favorite out of all the suits we've seen this year. And then we also had the one she arrived in when she came in to Boston, which was, it's been debated, but I believe people have settled on it was an amethyst color, so it was a dark, deep purple. And then she also has a navy version now of it as well. So I'm just so excited because I feel like suits are staples in a wardrobe, and I don't feel like everyone can necessarily pull them off super well, but I feel like it's a great working look for a royal. And I feel like with Catherine's height and her thinness, I feel like it's a look that can really go far. And again, something that'll really last her for years and years. So I was just super excited to see her adopt those more. And I do have to say, I love pinks. The pink's my favorite. I tried to look up and get the coat, but I think because she wore it, it sold out even faster because sometimes I try to wait and see if things go on sale. But it looks like there's a really light ice pink suit that's come out this year, so that I think looks really gorgeous. Okay, next pick I have is I love this yellow dress, this Roxanda dress that she wore not only to Wimbledon, but also earlier during her tours in the Caribbean. She wore it when she arrived in Jamaica. I just love the bow shoulder detail. I think the color is lovely. I just think it looks fabulous on Catherine. And I also say when she put on the hat at Wimbledon, ooh, she looked fabulous. And the hat, I'm not always a fan of Catherine and wide brim hats, but I think love this one because I feel like it really actually works for her so well. And so I just really am in love with this yellow dress. I looked it up because I would so buy this dress. So they had a sleeveless version, and I think in a different color. So it was a custom color, custom to add sleeves. And so I just feel like it's such a flattering and simple ensemble and gathered so well and just fitted so well. And so I feel like it is, again, a perfect look for Catherine. Very sunny and fit well in the Caribbean, and I think well this summer at Wimbledon too. Okay, so for my next look, this is another repeat, and this is one where when I first saw it earlier, it just didn't do much for me. This was the dress Catherine wore in that famous video where Harry and Meghan tried to crash a event where they were looking at some memorabilia of Charles' investiture as the Prince of Wales and the history of the Prince of Wales and everything. So they were doing a walkabout of some of this memorabilia, and Harry and Meghan apparently very clearly, I gotta say, this is not one of the conspiracy things. This definitely looks right. Tried to crash the party and it did not go well for them or anyone really. It was super awkward and uncomfortable. But Catherine wore this dress again to a Buckingham Palace garden party. And when I saw it, I was like, wow, she and William look so regal here. I feel like the hat with this look actually really is what sells it. I think it's a dress that screams for a hat, and I love the soft romanticism of her hat. I feel like it really works with the dress. I think it's just a stunning look, and I especially just love the pictures of Catherine and William looking at each other as they walked. Again, that was just such a romantic moment, and they just looked so stately and everything. And so I just think it was just a fabulous outfit. And I think sometimes too, you just like the emotions that you see on somebody else's face in an event. And so I just really loved Catherine's look there at William. I just thought that was really perfect. Okay, so next we'll have another garden party look. And this is the look where I was obsessed with the pumps, and I still want them. They are from Emmy London. They are in the color Makeup, and it's this coral look. Again, we've seen the silhouette from Catherine before. I believe this is Emilia Wickstead, and I feel like we've seen a hat before like that or something very similar. But I just love the cleanness of this look, the simplicity of it, and just the color. Again, it's a color we haven't seen much on Catherine before. I feel like this year we've seen Catherine in a lot of colors that we just are new to her. And so I feel like, I mean, there's so many colors, but I just love that she's coming out with some of these new looks and some new colors. Not that she didn't have color before, but I just feel like there was just a couple, especially the last one, I was like, wow, I've never seen you in that. That looks amazing. And I feel like this one is one too. I think it was a perfect garden party look. Okay, so next on my best dress, I have to say, is this self-portrait blazer skirt outfit that Catherine wore when she was visiting a maternity center with Princess Anne. I just love the detailing of the blazer. So I had this little embroidered detail on it, or stitching detail, and I just think it was just a very clean, simplistic look. And I've really come to like self-portrait. I saw there was this one self-portrait dress that Catherine wore a couple times. I was like, I don't like it. And I don't like everything they make, but again, I love sort of an older style, and I feel like self-portrait fits that. And I love that it's business look. And I did actually get myself something that Catherine wore that I will managed to find on sale, so I will show you that to you guys hopefully at some point, not right now though. And so I just, again, I've really loved that, and I think it's a great, just a look that we can see again. Hopefully maybe they're separates because it kind of comes together. They have a couple like this, and so hopefully maybe we can see this separate from her at a different point and see her wear it again, because I love it. So the next one I'm going to go over is, I think, one that again surprised me, and I was like, she has more vintage. And so this was Catherine's vintage Saint Laurent jacket that she wore in the Caribbean in Belize as she was leaving, and I just love this jacket. I love those jackets like that. Again, it has a little bit of a military flair. I love the color. I love that it's vintage, and I think it just goes to show that Catherine maybe has a bit more of a vintage collection than we've seen before. She also busted out a vintage Chanel blazer this year, so she has a bit of an eye for vintage, and so it's nice to see some of that starting to come out a bit. And I just feel like it was just a really simple look. It looked great in the Caribbean. I think that was a great place to debut it, and so hopefully we see it again sometime here in the future. So my next look that I love is this lace ensemble that Catherine wore in Jamaica. This is when they stood on top of the Range Rover, and that was a bit of controversial, but I love this dress. I think if Alexander McQueen could make this and sell this as a dress rehearsal dress for weddings, I think they would sell out immediately. I love the square neckline. I just love the softness of the lace. I just think Catherine looks absolutely fabulous in it. She just looks royal and regal. And I just think that was a look that really came together. Somebody said it was inspired by the Queen, and I think that definitely could be true. And I just, oh man, when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's so gorgeous. It's so incredible. It's so amazing. And I'm just so, I'm so excited that Catherine wore something like this. I think the hat really worked, and so I just think that was great. All right, guys, so now down to floor length outfit. So number one that we have is what she wore in the Bahamas. And this one, again, was a bit of a surprise. We haven't really seen her in a ball gown like this. And I just was so excited that she went ahead and debuted something like this. And I love it's a Philippa, and Philippa, I can't remember the last name. And it's this satin gorgeous bodice dress, and it's just so, the wide neckline I feel like is great. I love that the necklace here works. Catherine's worn this necklace a couple times in a couple other dresses, and I just never felt like it worked, but I felt like it worked really well here. This dress actually screams for even a bigger and more stately necklace, so maybe we'll see that at some point in the future. But again, I feel like this was a majestic look, and again, something that we haven't seen from her before, so I was just super excited to see that. Another one I loved is this Vampire's Wife dress. So Catherine wore Vampire's Wife for the first time in 2021, and it was this green dress, and it's an interesting material, and this pink dress is made from the same stuff, and I just feel like I love the deep pink, I love the color, I love how it flows and moves, and I wouldn't mind owning something like that myself. I think it's like $3,000 or something. It's not a cheap dress, and I don't think they'll come down in price anytime soon. Maybe they'll create one that's short, but I do like the Vampire's Wife. I think the brand has grown on me a bit. We've seen Catherine in it more. We've seen a lot of royal ladies in it more, and it has a very specific silhouette, so it's usually pretty easy to identify. But again, I love how this moved. I love the shimmery fabric to it. It's just such a unique fabric. And it's like the one that she has in green again, and I think it just really, really works, and I just absolutely love it. All right, and so another gala dress we want to talk about is Catherine's dress that she wore to the Top Gun premiere. Now, I will say I have somewhat mixed feelings on it, because at this one point I feel like it's fabulous. She looks fantastic in it, especially from the back. Like, you can go, oh man, she really does work out. But on the other hand, I feel like at some points straight on, it shows off almost too much how toned her arms are and everything. I don't know, it just doesn't flatter her super well at points. But I also think it's just a look that very, very few women could pull off well, and I feel like she does do a really, really good job at it. And I think it's just a fabulous, fabulous look. It's simplistic, it's streamlined, and I think especially from the back really worked well. And it was funny because I guess Meghan Markle must have been just a bit jealous of her sister-in-law, because she tried to debut the same look in a jumpsuit and it didn't work. So, but I just thought this, again, dress was very, very, I mean, it was flattering and it wasn't flattering at the same time. So Catherine has an inverted triangle shape, so that means her shoulders are quite wide and her waist and her hips are very, very narrow. So I feel like it overemphasized that. She's had a couple dresses that have done that from time to time. So again, there's a part of me that loves it and part of me that's like, I'm not sure either, but I think it's still a really gorgeous look. All right, and so next one I will have to say is the state visit from South Africa. I feel like that look from Catherine is the best I've seen her look in tiara. Catherine and tiara looks, I feel like, have been a struggle for her. I don't think she's just naturally gravitates towards those kind of clothes and that kind of look. Unlike somebody like Maxima, who's just very vivacious, and I feel like, you know, she's always go big or go home when it comes to jewelry. Catherine's just not like that. I think she's definitely has always been a bit more understated, and I feel like she feels more comfortable in jeans and a jacket and a sweater being outside. But I feel like this is the moment it was her first event as the Princess of Wales, the state event, and I feel like this dress, it had the right amount of drama. It wasn't too overwhelming, and yet I feel like the pearls and the shoulders of her dress mixed so well together. I just thought that was absolute perfection. I was hoping Catherine would wear a different tiara, but I honestly don't think any other tiara would have looked as good with that dress as the Queen Mary's Lover Knot does. That dress screams for the Queen Mary's Lover's Knot or something similar. I think because the silver or the white gold in the tiara really meshes well with the silver on top of her shoulders and just the white and everything. Oh my gosh, it's just, I was just amazed. I was like, oh my gosh, Catherine's finally figured out how to dress a tiara. So I just was so excited by that, and it was just definitely one of my favorite looks of the whole year. But for number one, and again, guys, I almost get this part because I love the color of this, and I feel like we haven't seen Catherine in anything like this, and to me, it was just perfection. And it's this cornflower blue number that she wore at the Order of the Garter ceremony earlier this year. I love this. I would get a dress in this color in a heartbeat. I would love to find a dress like this. I think the color is something we just have not seen from Catherine before. She seemed very joyful on this day, and I feel like that came across really, really well. She was so excited, I think, for Camilla, and I just think that shows how wonderful and great their relationship is. And I just think, again, this is just, she looked fabulous here. I just love it. It's just my favorite. I just love the bit of the dark blue along with the cornflower blue of her dress. Oh my goodness, it was just, oh, I love this. I would buy that look in a heartbeat if I could. I would so completely and totally buy those shoes, but especially buy the coat dress, because I think that is a look that really works. And I feel like Catherine looked, again, just especially joyful that day, and I feel like that really does come across. All right, guys, so now for your picks. So you guys voted on Instagram. I had some stories out, and you guys were able to vote and share with me your favorite looks of the year. And it was kind of interesting because naturally, as the options were being whittled down, it really became apparent that you could divide everything up into specific categories, which was, I wasn't planning, but ended up being super nice. So when it comes to an event with a hat, your guys' favorite look, just by a small percentage, was the one that she wore to the Queen's funeral. I do think it is just a very elegant look. Again, I'm not as much of a fan of wide brim hats, so that's why to me I wasn't quite as much of a fan, but I do think it was a really, really fantastic look. Obviously, you guys loved that yellow Roxanda dress too, and so, but you did end up going with Wimbledon over Jamaica on that, and so I just thought that was kind of interesting that everybody seemed to really love that, and every time I put that dress up, it always blew out the competition. Next, when it comes to gala events, although this is not quite the same comparison, it was clear that for her tiara and everything, compared to her 40th birthday pictures, her tiara look by far and away blew away the competition. At 85% of you guys still love that. And so I just went with 4 and just whittled it down. And then for a gala event that's not as dressy as the rest, you guys went with the Tom Cruise dress. Yes, so that is one, again, that I liked as well, and so I feel like that makes sense. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you just loved and enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see what Catherine debuts next year. Talk to you later. Bye.